It's disturbing. Creator rise, I was positive surgeon. Cosmic post see emerges. Brain of eternal. Hands on my time. Impossible prince can God watch you step in the mind. Soul triggers. Power holy divine righteousness. Combined with courage, love of essence. Don't let trauma bind and block your blessings. When you behind the veil, you hear the confession. Give you limitation, corruption, fear, deception. This the age of knowing evolution and resurrection.
Welcome back to another episode of Talk That Crap. Today we're gonna have a great show today. I do have some guests that will be arriving shortly. Some are running a little bit behind, but we're gonna continue to move on until they arrive. But yeah, today is gonna be an awesome. I hope everybody is having a great week. I hope everyone enjoyed that lunar eclipse that came around that ushered in a whole lot of energy. I hope those are able to take some time and do some grounding for yourselves and do all of those different things. Hold on one second. Welcome, my brother. Welcome, my brother. Welcome to the platform once again, my boy Donnelly.
Divine Day, how you doing, boss?
Man, everything is great, brother. Everything is good. I was just saying I hope everybody had a great week so far, man, and hope everybody really enjoyed that energy that came across us on that lunar moon cycle. And yeah, it's been really good, man. It's been really good.
It has. I mean,
How
I'm not
about
gonna
you?
lie. Wednesday seems to have been a hump day for everybody that I've run across. But other than that, I mean, it's been divine for real.
Yeah. So, man, today we're going to have a very interesting conversation. And the funny thing about the show today, it was actually talking to a gentleman at my last place of employment. And he said, man, I got a great idea for your show. And I said, what's the name of it? He said, Are Men Afraid of Counseling? I said, huh. I said, I think so. But that's a great conversation to have. I said,
Hmm.
you gonna get on the show with me or you just want me to talk about it? No, I'm gonna get on there with you. My brother didn't get on with me. I'm calling you out, Nick. You ain't get on with me. I thought you said you gonna get on with me. So when you watching the show, Nick, I'm talking about you. You know who it is. But yeah, man, just when he said it to me, I said, man, I began to really ponder. Are men really afraid of counseling? Like then you start seeing, every time you hear in certain relationships, at least I've heard, they when it's time to go to counseling, they don't want to go to counseling. The man just really standoffish. He don't want to do this. He want to keep the same way he's always been. Could you talk to me a little bit about are men afraid of counseling?
um. So first of all, I want to go ahead and say I'm a little different. The
Okay.
with the partner that I have and the way that she's been brought up,
Mhm.
she was brought up in a way that she had to really dive into her masculine. With me, I have the masculine, but she's all throughout life I had to learn how to be a little more feminine. So with it dealing with her for the balance, I have to kind of like lean a little more on the feminine to ease her into the feminine, which now she has reached. So I can feel like I can kind of speak on both sides. But as a man, per the question you're asking, are men afraid of
Mhm.
counseling?
Mhm.
Me personally, I'm an 8 year, two tours combat veteran Marine. So counseling, I'm gonna work backwards. Counseling for me was necessary, due to the fact that before the Marine Corps, I had some gang affiliation and I went through some things that other individuals may not have gone through. And with that, it has changed my perspective on a lot of things, which has made it to where the reason I'm like, I'm constantly battling demons. So I try to the what people see of me, they often sometimes will see it as weakness. And then when they bring out the other side of me, they're like, where the fuck did that come from? And I'm just like, look, I choose I choose to be the kind, loving individual that I am because what I deal with on a day-to-day basis, it honestly makes me want to take my own life, to be honest with you. Every morning that I wake up,
Ooh.
I have to remind myself of who I
Ooh.
am. I have to remind myself that, you know what,
Mm.
you can make it through today because you have been through worse. And with that, the constant darkness I'm dealing with on a day to day, I
Mm.
strive. Like you heard me many times, I'm like, I live my life by three daily rules. Every day I strive to bring a smile to at least one person's face. Every day I strive to influence someone on positive love. Every day I strive to learn something new. If not, you become complacent. And with that, The reason I bring a smile to other people's face because a smile is contagious. So if I make somebody else smile, it'll make me smile as well, which will make me forget about the shit that I'm dealing with. So if anybody who ever sees me and I make y'all smile and everything, know that I'm doing that not only to make you happy, but also to keep myself out of the thoughts that I'm dealing with. So tying back to the counseling of why are men afraid of counseling? There's many different types of men in the world. That question can range to many different types of men. You have those men who are so prideful and so egotistic to where they feel that going to get counseling, seeking counseling is a form of weakness. But you have to ask yourself, what is weak? What does the word weak mean to you? Because everybody has their own idea of what weak is. Some people say that weak is something that's physical. Some people say that weak is showing emotions. When other individuals say that no, being strong is being able to show emotions. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, if you're the type of man who has too much pride to say, you know what, I need help, you're probably the same type of man who says, I don't need counseling. Counseling's for pussies. If you're the type of man who says, you know what, every day I'm striving to work on myself and become at least 1% better than I was yesterday, you're probably also the type of man who says, you know what, I can't do it all by myself. Eventually, you're going to either lean towards counseling or you're going to turn into that prideful individual being like, nah, fuck that. If you're the type of man who's like, you know what, I want to better myself for not only me, but for also those around me, you're going to be like, you know what, I need to talk to somebody. Whether that is actually going in for professional counseling or even finding someone you can confide in on a personal level. Now, if you're also the type of individual where you're like, you know what, I've been through a lot of shit in my life, I can help others based off of things that I have gone through, you're going to seek counseling. And the thing that a lot of people don't understand is even counselors need counseling. So with that, the amount of things that counselors deal with, they need someone to talk to too, because everybody should have, with us all being adults, everybody who's 18 is not an adult. Everybody who has a child is not a parent. But everybody who is an adult, you understand that at some point you realize, you know what, I'm pouring more into other people than I'm actually replenishing myself. You become drained. Just like with counselors, they're listening to everybody else, but sometimes they don't have people they can confine in to where they can pour into as well to balance them out. With men, if you try and hold everything in, you're going to explode. So we all need someone to confine in, whether you want to call it a counselor, whether you want to call it as a trusting individual. The different types of men, depending on who you are, some of them are afraid. Some of them feel that they're too prideful. Some of them, their ego is too big. They feel like they can't fit it into their lives. I know that doesn't fully answer your question, but there's different types of men.
That answered it quite well. And the men that I speak about I'm always going to be referring to melanated men. You know, I don't know the psyche of a Wahiti tribe. You know what I mean? I don't know their nature.
We might have to get that copyright in the
man. Okay, I got you. But this is my brother right here, Big Nick, that one brought this show to the game.
How you doing, boss?
What's going on, brother?
How you doing, man?
Tell the world about yourself, brother.
All right, man. I'm Nick, man. I'm 45, and I was listening to what the young man was saying about different types of counseling, which is true. There's always help for every individual. Every individual. Believe me, I've been there, done that.
So what kind of counseling have you had, Nick?
I mean, I had counseling when I wanted to kill myself. I didn't want to live. Listen, trust me, I done been where I felt abandonment about a lot of things that I went through. If people don't seek counseling, it's counseling for everything. What I went through, I don't wish for nobody. I don't fight demons every day. You know why? Because I realized one thing. I got to live for me. I can't live for the next man. I can encourage him, try to persuade him. If he don't do it, he's afraid of something. And like the young man said, he fight demons. He said he fight demons every day. Believe me, I've been in your shoes. I've been where I am. I felt like I want to run away, but if you run away, you run to wherever you run to, the problem's still gonna be there.
Yep.
And believe me, I listen. That's why I say men can't be afraid of counseling. I turned all my negativity from everything that I went through. Everything I went through, I turned to something positive. That's why I call myself a hardworking man. Because you know why? Everything I work for is from that negativity. I turn into
Mm,
positive.
Yeah, you
transmutation.
change the
That's
pole. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You
you change the
can't. Yeah,
pole on that thing.
I changed the whole thing because I didn't want nobody saying that, thinking that I can do whatever I put my mind to. I'm gonna do it. But when I was going through my depression and I needed counseling, believe me, I was running from it. I was afraid of it. My pride wouldn't let me do it. But
Hmm.
I sat down and prayed about it one day, and I let the inner voice say, "Man, just go get the counseling, and you're gonna turn this thing around." And that's exactly what I did.
Mm, powerful,
Respect.
powerful, beautiful, brother. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I turned it. Yeah, I turned. Go
yeah.
ahead, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead, continue.
I'm telling you, I turn everything from negative to positive. When you see me coming to Circle K, I'm always smiling. You know why I smile? Because I let nothing steals my joy or take me out of character. I don't do it no more. Because you know why? You
Mm,
can't control how people act and what they do. You can't control it. Just
Why
pray
stress
for them.
over
Keep
things
going
you can't
forward.
control?
There you
wow,
go.
you're right, you're right. Well, I mean, with that being said, and we understand that there's different types of men, there's different type of counseling. Like when melanated men is again, this is who I'm talking about tonight. So when melanated men are dealing with relationships, marriages, things that don't go well, or situations in their life that they went through from childhood to adulthood, uh, really bad friendships that went really horrible. Like when they experience things like that, as as Donley said earlier, they ball that up on the inside. With instead of balling it up, if they're not able to go to counseling, what else would you suggest they could do? What else could a person do?
Go
So
ahead.
for me, um, there's many different outlets. You need to find
Okay.
what it is that you love to do, which is one of the reasons why self-love is very important. When you dive into the self-love, you start to love yourself and also find the things that you love to do, those hobbies. For me, it's martial arts. I'm not gonna lie. I love to punch a motherfucker in the face and not get in trouble for it. Like I fight in the ring. That's something that I do. I train as well. So with for me, going to the dojo, the gym, things along those lines, that right there is a form of meditation for me, which Mr. Impossible, you understand how important meditation is as well. Being able to calm your mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the issues as well. A lot of individuals who are in counseling, when you're in counseling, one of the things that anybody who has been in counseling, they learn their mind starts to slow down. They're not overwhelmed by all those thoughts due to the fact that they're able to speak to someone, which also comes out to be a form of meditation. So, one thing that I love about counseling is it benefits everybody. You might, for example, when I was going through the PTSD and all that stuff, they always said it's going to get worse than before it gets better. As time went on and you start to understand what was going on, you're able to speak about the things that happened and not really have, as Brother Impossible spoke about before, in previous episodes, you have that detachment. That emotional detachment is away from it to where now you can think about what has happened, but you're not reliving it based off the emotions that are following it, that were attached to it. So when it comes down to the counseling, that is also a form of meditation due to the fact that it is calming your mind down to where you're focusing on one thing. You don't have all these different things going through your mind. You don't have that anxiety. You don't have all those emotions that are flowing with it. And now with having somebody listen to you and in a calming environment without all that chaos, you're able to focus. And I think that's one of the issues with a lot of melanated individuals when it comes down to PTSD, because we are not brought up the same way as the Wahite tribes, the Mayo monsters. I'm not going to go down my list, but we are not brought up the same way. We are born into chaos for a majority of us, and we deal with things that are different than what other individuals deal with. So we automatically have
Right.
PTSD. We end up having PTSD and not realizing that the things that we're going through are traumatic because it seems normal based off of the environment that we are in. So when we end up going into counseling, it brings that realization that, you know what, you're a little more effed up than you thought that you were. And the fact that someone as a melanated man to realize, you know what, I'm effed up, we usually oftentimes don't want to accept that
That's true.
because we want to think that, you
Yeah.
know what, I am what I am perfect, I'm this, I'm whoop de woo, so on and so forth, yada yada yada. So when someone tells you there is an issue. You're like, nah, there ain't no issue. It's almost like we take it as if someone says you's a bitch. And then we just like,
Yeah,
nah,
that's
bump
true.
that, bro. It's nah. What you mean? What you mean? And now all of a sudden the hostility is coming out, and we're falling into the stereotype, and we continue to live that stereotype, feeling like, no, I need to be strong. Okay, but that's the thing that gets me, because this is a question I pose to a lot of individuals I run to, and it makes them think. And I'm gonna say the question first, and I'm gonna tie it into where I'm going with this. I love doing tie-ins. So with it, whoever taught you what attraction feels like?
Our family.
How so?
Family.
Does somebody say this right here shows you what,
Mm.
when you like somebody, what
Mm-mm.
attraction feels like, that you're attracted to an individual? Did somebody teach you what that feels like?
Mm-mm.
No.
So how can you tell, how do you know what strong is? How do you know what weak is, besides in a physical aspect?
You can always feel it.
That's a
You may
that's
not.
a
You might not understand. You always feel it. You can feel
What
you. If you're strong, you're gonna know it.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. What does the word strong mean to you? Not on the physical side.
Now on the physical side, strong mean not the physical side. Your ability to overcome. Number one,
To overcome what?
anything is possible. Like what you're going through.
And what does that look like?
You got to. It doesn't have a picture. It doesn't.
That's what I'm getting at.
See, I know you're getting there. I've been there. I've been asked that
So
question before.
therefore,
It,
if you don't know what strong looks like, you don't know what weak looks like. How can you say that you're strong or that you're weak? So therefore, now when someone tells you that you're weak and it goes against what you feel is weak, it's going to cause confliction within you. If someone says that, if you're going through thinking that you are strong and someone says you're weak, you're going to fight that. Now you're going to mess around, end up catching a case and be in jail because someone tested your true nigga instincts.
that's true. That's true. That's why you got to. That's why I said. Let me tell you something. When you go to counseling, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of ways of counseling. It's a lot of ways. If you can't talk about it, you put it on paper because it don't have, like you said, it don't have a weak don't have a picture. Strong don't have a picture. It's what you think of it.
Now with
You got to
it,
think. You got.
I
Uh-huh.
want to tie into what you just said about having to write it down. How many melanated individuals actually can convey their thoughts, whether it's writing it down
Not a
or speaking
lot.
about it? So
Not a lot.
you see where the issue is coming?
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
I'm sorry. The way that I operate and the way that I think, and I'm teaching my kids the same way, is life is like chess. If this happens, this, and this can happen. If this happens, this, and this can happen. So which path do you want to go down and think of what can possibly happen next? That's the way that I'm literally walking these questions currently.
Yes.
Because it's like
You let
I
chess
know
go.
where it's gonna end, but I want everybody, because everybody who may listen to this podcast does not think like that. They don't think of the beginning and walk themselves to the end. So if we just start at the end point where I know that probably all three of us are at, everybody else is gonna miss. It's kind of like when you're teaching somebody how to do algebra. If you don't show them how you got to where you're going, or if you don't show them to where you're starting at, getting to where you're going, they're gonna miss all that. They're gonna be lost in the fucking sauce. I suck at math, and that's the reason why I'm using this comparison.
I love math, so I know you're talking about. You got to start somewhere. If you don't start from that
Exactly.
beginning, you're gonna miss. That person gonna be at the end. They're gonna miss it every time.
So one of the
They're gonna
biggest
miss it.
things that I feel is, as a melanated man, we must first learn how to actually convey what it is that we're feeling, what it is that we're seeing, what is going on internally with us. Because otherwise, you can go to counseling, you can be one of those individuals who shut down and they're like, okay, so what's going on today? And you end up shooting them some shit like, well, I don't know, I just came here. Oh, and then the counselor's asking follow-on questions, and you're giving them close-ended responses, you know? So you're not getting anything out of it. It's when you learn how to actually
Exactly.
convey your emotions and actually are willing to speak up about what's going on. When you learn to communicate, unfortunately.
Anything you want to add on, Nick?
And they got to know how to accept it. If they don't accept it, you never get past it.
Mm.
You got to know how to accept what you're going through. If you can't accept what you're going through, you won't get past it.
I wonder can
Tell me,
actually
yeah,
a lot of men recognize? I wonder can they recognize what they're going through?
they can, but they choose not to. It's just that as men, we bullheaded. We just stubborn, set in our ways, and don't want to accept it.
Mm.
You remember how women came through and impossible, you're gonna hate me for saying this word, which I know you don't like, but a lot of women these days say that all men are narcissists. The reason they say that is because a lot of men don't want to take accountability for the things that they do. Now, tying into the counseling, a lot of men don't want to take accountability for things that have happened to them, whether they have been molested as a children, whether they have had failed relationships where they were at the reason why it didn't work, whether it is that when it came down to domestic violence, they don't want to accept that what they did was wrong. A lot of us do not have that accountability. And that I feel like that
That's very
ties
true.
into what you're saying, Nick, about the willing to accept.
Yes.
Agreed. Totally. Totally. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Because I'm saying,
go ahead.
go ahead, Mr. Park. Go ahead, Mr. Park. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You good? Go ahead. Say
No,
what you're saying.
I was just, I was just, I was just coming on and bringing in another question when it comes to men's and emotional and feeling. Because we all talk about healing. We all have gone through a certain level of healing. We all have been through relationship tough times. We all came up through the streets and all of those different things. Now, when it comes to being able to accept change, when you hit that brick wall, sometimes, because you're gonna hit that wall, you're gonna hit that little in the road while you going through it. What would you say to encourage that person that coming out of counseling, they going through it, they at a low place in life, they looking to make a change in their life, they start making a change in their life, and all of a sudden, they get smacked. What would you say to that
That
individual?
brick, that brick wall. You know what? That brick. Listen, that's a long road. Nobody says it's not gonna be easy. Every day ain't gonna be like Sunday. It's not gonna be easy. But you got to go through it. In order to get from one side to the other side, you got to go through it. It ain't gonna be easy. I mean, you going it's like a tug of war. Everybody be pulling you every way, but you got to figure out how to get through that to get yourself where you need to be at. Believe me, I've been there. I've been pulled left, right, side to side. I've been pulled like just like that. But you got to figure out how to get through it. If you don't get through it, if you don't see yourself getting through it, you giving up. That's showing that sign of weakness. But it don't have no picture at all.
Mm.
It don't have
So
a picture.
if
And
weakness,
believe me,
if
go
weakness
ahead.
has no sign, where do we get the idea of weakness from? If it got no form, where we get it from?
Hearing somebody say it, you just weak. You can't do nothing. You just weak. You're not gonna do it
Hmm.
What is
every
weakness?
time.
What is weakness?
Such thing. I mean,
It,
it don't
it,
have a stronger weakness. It don't have it.
it
It don't
depends on
have
your
anything on it.
Well, I
it
feel
depends
like
on
Huh?
your
weakness.
context.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go, Mr. Impossible. In the Marine Corps, we had a saying: "Pain is weakness leaving the body." Now, with that, in the Marine Corps, we harped ourselves on being physically fit, providing that pain for us, therefore making it feel as if you had no weakness in your body because you are now creating yourself to be solid as a rock. Which, granted, rocks can be broken, rocks can be molded. With enough pressure, a rock can be broken. With enough water flowing through it or wind, it can be sculpted into whatever.
And it also could be moved
Exactly.
how you
So
want
I
to
mean, when
move.
it comes, when it comes down to it, to answer, say your question again, Mr. Impossible.
The person that is going through the counseling, they start to make change in life, they really want to go through it, and then as they start to make some momentum in life, they get smacked. What do you say to them?
With that, Tyles was talking about how being solid as a rock, you have wind, water, the different elements that can literally mold you and change you or possibly move you. You know that saying where they say you can learn a lot about who a person is by the five people that they keep closest to them?
Hmm.
One thing that
Yes.
I love is in AA, I think it's called NAA, Narcotics Anonymous, AA, NAA, they have these things called sponsors. With that, they're there to help you keep stay on the right path. Anytime that you're going through something, you can reach out to them. I look at friends the same way. I don't call everybody a friend because everybody's not there for you. There's a lot of people who want to hold with you, but everybody want to grow with you. The few that are willing to grow with you those are the ones that you can grow with. Those are the ones that you keep around you to where you're constantly learning from one another. It's a constant balance between all of you. And with that, those are the ones that I feel that you need to lean upon. Because if you have individuals around you who are looking out for your welfare, those individuals can provide into your life on a positive level if that's where you're trying to go. Surround yourself with individuals who are greater or on a higher are greater than where it is that you're or where you're trying to go or greater than where it is you're trying to go. Because in all honesty, you want to constantly keep elevating, correct? If you're truly trying to go on
That's
a
true.
healing path, then you want to make sure that you have some type of role model. You have an idea, like how you said, Nick. You have a picture of what you're trying to achieve. So having those individuals around you when you're going through a tough time, they're going to talk to you and elevate you and push you. I have a toast that I made. I'll say it at the end of the podcast. I'll go ahead and let you take that as well, if possible, for any time that you end up taking a drink. Because trust me, it's best boss. But with it,
Okay.
when you sit there and you're having a hard time, you want to have people in your corner who are sitting there and saying, "Hey, bro, pain is weakness leaving the body. Just know that anything you're going through right now, it's only making it to where it's trying to make sure that you can handle the things that may come in the blessing I'm about to provide for you." To be able to speak things into your life to where it helps you understand, you know what? Pain is temporary, pride is forever. It's okay to have pride, but at the same time, you have to know when to put the pride aside. Now, with it, that pride can be used to help elevate you and push you forward. Pride is a good thing. It also can be a bad thing. It's like a double-bladed sword, double-edged sword. Correction.
Yeah,
So, I mean, when it comes down to it, it can cut you, or it can freaking put you in a position of where you need to be. At the same time,
that's true.
if you're sitting there wallowing in all the dark things you're going through, and you have no way of bringing yourself back up because of the fact that you don't have that self motivation in yourself, or you've been beat down so much you don't know how to pull yourself back up, that's when you got to find that light in the end of the tunnel. And it just so happens that, for example, me talking to Mr. Impossible, he's the light at the end of the tunnel. Granted, he's dark as shit, but he's the light at the end of the tunnel. So, I mean, when I talk with him, bro, man, is just like, "Hey, bro, you're thinking a little on the negative aspect. You got to think about it like this. If this and this happened, what do you think is possibly opening you up for?" "Well, I don't know. This and this happened." "Okay, you sound like a pessimist. If that's how you're going to deal, you can go ahead and step away and I can continue all my life. Like, I'm not going to deal with that today." It's like, "But I need help." "Okay, well, then shut the fuck up and think about it on a better aspect." You right. So, I mean, to have individuals around you like that, like, let me give you a little story. I was talking to somebody the other day, and he was having issues in his marriage. And with that, his partner, his wife, was doing things, talking to like her friends about the things that talking bad about her spouse. And with that, the in my
Wow, no.
eyes, in my eyes, I was like, look, if those were true friends of hers, they would not allow her to speak negative about her husband.
Mhm.
They would
Hey,
find they would
and let me ask you one question.
what's
Are
up?
her friends married? Are her friends married? Are they married?
Um I cannot say. I'm going off of a story that was told to me from an individual, which I'm not
Listen,
going to disclose too
let,
much information. But with
let me
it,
tell you something.
I told him, I was like, look, if those were truly her friends, they would not allow her to speak negative about the man in her house, the man of her life. I was like, so you have to
Mr. Impossible.
reevaluate, like, are those really friends? But go
Listen,
ahead.
I've been there and done that. I've been there and done that. That's why I asked you, are the friends married? That's why I'm asking. If they ain't married, she don't even listen to them. You know what? They don't know what a marriage is. They don't know. They don't know. I've been
I
there,
let
done
I let
that.
him tell me what he was comfortable telling me. I was not prying on any more information.
Yeah. But if she listens to them friends gonna listen. My mindset is I rather build a bridge to walk across than a wall I can't get through. That's my mindset. I
Ah,
keep that in my mind. I don't want that wall because you can't take that wall down, but you can always go walk across that bridge every time.
ah.
So
I tear
trust me.
down my wall.
Hey, listen, ain't no walls up for me. I keep them
I
down. I keep them knocked
beat
down.
them bitches down. Well, we
Exactly.
we all we all in we all go through certain levels of heights. Even it's like going through a obstacle course when you're in the Marines or anything else. You got to jump over that wall. The average person would want to run through the wall, but I'm just going to hurdle the wall. So you grabbing that rope or you just jumping over. I would say to the individual that has started their transition and change, going to counsel, got the momentum going, all of a sudden they get smacked. Take a deep breath, get up, understand that the mindset that you have and the mindset that you're developing. You're developing a mindset, a mental fortitude that will take you to heights and the greatness that will can never be compared to. You want to be able to have a mental fortitude to where even when you get hit in your stomach, you go down low, you take a deep breath, you come back up and you put your guards back up and you go back in for the fight. Never lay down, never give up, no retreat, all surrender. No retreat, all surrender. You know what I'm saying? So the healing. So let's talk about the healing aspect of healing one's mind. Because we talked about going to counseling and we have to be able to accept it. You know, we're talking about the different aspects of what the different types of man, the different types of counseling, the different approaches that we can use, whether it's writing, whether it's getting out in the nature, doing something different to ease and help that anxiety that you have or that hurt, that neglect that you may have. When it comes to healing, really letting go and really becoming new, is that so? Is that difficult for a lot of melanated men to do to like become brand new? You got to leave all that shit behind you and become brand new. Is that difficult?
It is,
Mm.
Mr. Positive. That's why you see. That's why you see me in the store. I'm always
Mm.
smiling at it. You know why I smile?
Yeah.
Because all my negativity is positive now. I channel everything towards doing work. It gave me skills. I put those
Mm.
skills to work. No negativity. Like you said, no retreat, no surrender. I just put all my stuff into doing my work. I let my work speak for me because I don't want nothing negativity. Not gonna steal my joy that day. Not gonna get me out of character. I might see somebody that's struggling. I'm gonna give them encouraging word. I'm gonna keep going forward.
Mm. Valley.
See, for me, I would have to say that it is very difficult to change. And I've gone through it a couple times. For example, when I was in the Marine Corps, I had a sergeant major tell me, he was like, look, you can either change to where the Marine Corps is going or you can get out. Granted, 2 weeks later, I found out he put in his retirement package and he was getting out. But also at the same time, at that point, I had already served about 7.5 years. And I came in during a time of war. So everything, the way that I was brought up in the Marines was everything you had to move and act as if someone's life depended on it. Now we were in a peacetime to where everything was kind of laxy daisy and just paperwork. A lot of it, Marines who came in during the wartime were getting pushed out for failure to adapt. With that, I had to sit and think like, okay, am I going to take the last 7.5 years of my life and data dump that and try and learn something completely new that is completely different? I was like, I don't think I can do that just to try and make it to 20 years. Like, I can't forget who I am and I cannot just data dump everything. And just even being in the real world, there's times where you're born with values, beliefs. So when you go into a situation, when you end up having, like, let's say a culture shock, go to a different country, and you're provided all these different things that are different than what you're used to, you might get picked on or things just go against your beliefs and your values. So now you might kind of stand out or get called things. You have to choose, like, okay, can I change? Let's say that you end up having that culture shock when you're like 16, after 12 years old, because by the time you're 12, you're stead foot dead in your ways, you know? So with that, it's going to be very difficult to change who you are. Now, when there are minute things that happen, like for example, with me, if I'm doing something wrong and you bring it to my attention, I'm doing something wrong, and it makes sense, I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you for letting me know, because I'm constantly trying to work on myself and better myself. A lot of individuals don't do that. They might tell you, okay, well, that's how I am, get over it. But trying to change yourself, you have to actually be willing and want to. Now, granted, there's going to be some things you can't change because that is the core of you. But when it comes down to small things along the lines of, hey, you always have an aggressive posture, or you the way that you say things can be a little offensive. Not necessarily what you say, but how you say it.
Mhm.
Or something along the lines of, hey, let's say in a corporate setting, you got to kind of learn how to code switch. Things like that is possible. When it comes down to someone doing something along the lines of you feel madly disrespected or they're overstepping your boundaries based off the way that you were brought up, to where, let's say, you end up seeing somebody, as men, you see another guy abuse a woman and you grew up in a household where you end up seeing your mother getting abused. Are you going to be able to change your reaction to that? Most likely not. You're going to most likely want to step in and stop that from happening, especially if you loved your mother or whoever it was that you grew up seeing getting abused. That's going to be very difficult to stop because that's embedded in you, especially as a man, feeling that you are the provider, or you are the provider and protector that you are. Now, I mean,
Mm.
I'm not even going to say that. That would get us in trouble. But when it comes down to it, there's some things that are very difficult to change. It's possible to change it. It's going to take a long time to change. There are some things where it can be brought to your attention. There's some things where it can be brought to your attention. And you're like, okay, bet I will work on that. And you can change it over the course of time. And it won't take as long as things that are actually chiseled into your core,
Change. I know it's possible because I'm the possibility. So I'm here because I know it's possible to change. What I would say to anybody is, when it comes to healing, what principles and what values are you using to make your decision? What principles, what values are you using to make your decision? And we must understand too, we have to take in the accountability of the psychological, spiritual realm, what's happening inside of our psyche. That's where it holds all the ideas, all the pictures, all the beliefs, everything that we say we identify with. It all happens in that realm, in the psyche. So if you're dealing with your psyche, you're dealing with your mind, you're dealing with your heart and your spirit in ways that you're looking to change, you're moving forward in change, you're doing deliberately something every single day to take you into that change, it's inevitable that change happens in your life. There won't be anything to stop that. No one can stop that. Healing is the same process. Letting go, the ability to detach, to let go, to learn things, to be able to transmute energy. Emotion is just energy, energy that you polarize. That's all it is. So when you understand and you bring to a place of neutralization, and now you're able to see it for what it is, and you're not getting swayed from one side to the other, then yes, healing can take place, no problem. And it don't take a long time. It just takes the habit of understanding that principle. That principle gonna give that value. That value gonna give you decision.
So I have a question for you based off what you just said. Are you saying that
Hmm.
an individual should put themselves in a situation that forces them to change?
Not forces them. They are already committed to change because they already want to go through that transition. They're seeking different opportunities and different ways they can change. So not necessarily put themselves, definitely don't put yourself in no type of danger to change. You put yourself, we already in pressuring states now. So most of us are, just about everybody I know is going through some type of change somewhere. So the pressure, what are you building upon that change? What are you able to evolve into? Who are you becoming in that change? What are you studying in this change? What skills are you acquiring in this change? What are you doing in this change that you're going from this to that? And when you get over here, you look back at this, goes, I don't know what the fuck I was doing even over here. That change.
Just basically
What you want to
asking,
say,
what are
Nick?
your goals from that change? What are your goals from that
Mm,
change?
yes.
What you want to do? Because I'm gonna
Hmm.
tell you something. We all know. You ever heard that saying? You got an inner voice that talks to you, whether you listen to it or not. You done heard that saying? They might hear
Yeah,
their
I
inner
have a
voice
dialogue
and
with
ignore
myself
it
every day,
every
all day.
time. Yes, he probably ignoring it. I'm telling you, because believe me, I wouldn't listen to mine at first, but then I turned around and started listening to it.
Yeah,
Got me where I'm at.
fact. Yeah, I believe I'm 110% on that right there. That internal dialogue, and you know what? You brought up a great point. A lot of people don't recognize their own internal dialogue. They actually have an internal dialogue with themselves, but not aware of the destructive program if they got one. They may not understand that they might confine themselves into areas and boxes and shells and cells in order for them to just cope with the actual day. So it's amazing that you talked about that internal dialogue because a lot of times people don't listen to their internal dialogue. They think they're crazy to listen to their internal dialogue.
I listen to mine a
Every,
Anything you
lot,
want to
and
chime
believe
in,
me,
Alex?
nah, I was gonna say when it comes to the internal dialogue, society has taught us that talking to yourself is bad. They try and make it seem as if you're crazy if you end up doing that. When I'm like, in all honesty, if you think about it, a lot of things that we're told not to do are things that are actually very beneficial for us.
Yep. And
yep,
meditation is a great tool to use when it comes to dealing with your own mind, healing, or even dealing with states of anxiety. If you're going to counseling, add in some Tai Chi, some yoga, some Qigong. Add in something that could allow you to tap into that energy. You already know to tap into that energy so you can just release certain things. Understand your whole chakra system. Understand the colors, the notes, the symbolism behind it. Like get into the things that when it comes to healing, it's going to allow you to truly heal. It will give you a whole new. I have a saying I call life for a life, and I've been telling people that for years. They say I want to change. I say give up a life and get a new life, a life for a life.
very
Can
true.
people can people accept new life when it happens immediately? Because sometimes, as you stated before, Donnie, that sometimes it takes time. Yet there are times when you walk into your alignment, it happens like this. Now it's happening way, way, way more faster than it is. So are you able to, as Nick talked about earlier, accepting that new life in that quickening? Can you accept that new life in that quickening?
I love the fact that you said that, like a life for a life. And this is not even on some religious things, but oftentimes when people hear the word heaven, they automatically think straight to Christianity. But what heaven, what is it talking about? Everything is good, everything is cool, calm, collective. That's usually more along the lines of a balance, a harmony, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
So when I say everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die,
Everyone go ahead there. Nobody wasn't dead.
so nobody wants to leave where they're at to get to a greater place. They don't want to do that work.
Mm,
But yet everybody expects that they're going to just be in a harmonious place. I'm like, in order to first get
come
balanced,
on.
you must first be unbalanced, right?
yeah, you
Yeah,
got to get
that's what we
unbalanced.
going
If you
through. Part of it.
you
Yeah.
you got to, yes, yes,
Hmm.
And that's the thing that sucks. Like when it comes down to it, yeah, if you're gonna weigh your heart against the feather, you got to put in that work. Because I mean, just like when you
Oh
have
yeah.
somebody who's obese, they got to put in that work in order to get to the desired weight that they're trying to get to. And when it comes to weight loss, they got to make sure that they're regulating the things that they're eating. They also are making sure that they're burning more calories than they're intaking. They're also making sure that they're exercising on a proper time, while at the same time making sure that their diet goes with their blood type and the whatever it is that they're doing. So I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration. You can't just sit there and sit on your backside and think that, you know what, in about 6 months I'm gonna be at this weight, or in 6 months I'm gonna manifest this into my life. Billy Carson said it well himself. It's like you can't be woke and broke at the same time. You cannot sit here and tell people about manifestation if you're not manifesting anything your damn self. How do you expect to tell anybody about the good things that come from something if you're not even reaping those good things your damn self?
that's true. Same old saying.
I
What's
think
to become is better than what's been.
yes.
Just
Sure
remember
enough.
that.
Sure enough. Sure enough. And just to say the great how great things line up, and then it's a small gesture. But I'm always in a state of gratitude. I goes in the store in food line this morning. I go to get a case of water. There were two ladies in front of me. One lady did hers. She did a transaction about 3 times. She apologized about 3 times. I said, "Ma'am, you're okay. I'm in no rush. I'm going nowhere. I got my whole day ahead of me. Everything is fine." She said, "You know what? Since I done made you wait, I'm a purchase your water for you." I said, "No, ma'am. I'm good. I can pay for my water." She's like, "No, I done made you wait. I'm gonna buy your water. And I was laughing like a mother. I was like, God damn. Even when I was like, I still got to make a transaction, man, because I need some cash back. So thank you, but I still gotta do a transaction. But that's the gratitude in that, man. Just being able to have moments where you can receive. Are you able to receive the symbols, the signs that you are okay? Are you able to receive and understand that you know what? It's some ups and downs, but you know I got more ups and downs. And Bobby Hemming said this a long time ago. He said, when you're going through life on this journey, be careful of your dips. He said, start to pay attention to how low you go. Because then when you get that low, you got to climb just that high. And then when you get that high, you got to be careful not to drop that low. He said, what you want to do is stay more steady, more balanced. That way, when you dip, it ain't that far. When you rise, it ain't that far. And you keep that ego in check by being able to stay at a balance versus being so high on something. You know, you're doing so well, and you looking down on everybody else, and then next thing you know, hey, things ain't looking too well for you. So always keep that in mind as you're going through this whole thing of change. And again, have a have a resolve in life. Have a why in life. Why are you want to change? Why are you going through the point of I'm making this change? Is it because of health? Is it family? Is it relationship? Is it business? Like, if you're going to counsel for you've been in the military and you got PSD, whatever that thing called, I get it. Because guess what? America is the only country that trained their soldiers that grew up in a religion say thou shalt not kill, then teach you how to kill and think you're going to be okay when you get back.
And
Other
give you a
countries
good
don't teach
18.
that. Yeah. Other countries don't do that. Other countries teach you in your religion, you gonna kill somebody. And it's okay. You know what I mean? And here, that's why we battle so much in our minds and we fight so much. Because when you taking the lives from other people, you can't just come back and go, welcome to Walmart. Like, that's not gonna work.
It
You
never
know,
does.
that's not gonna work. So with the process of counseling and healing, and Nick, you had said it earlier. Do you think a lot of men feel abandoned when it comes to their emotion because they feel that they're not even to share their emotion or be vulnerable enough to share their emotion with their significant other? Do you feel that that's an issue?
It is. That's why I say. That's why I was asking. Do you know the difference between abandon and abandonment? Because abandonment basically means I'm gonna tell you what it means. Abandonment, where that man wants to get help, but he's afraid to go through it all alone with no support.
Okay.
That's the abandonment of it. Abandoned. He don't have no support. You know what I'm saying? But he don't really. He got that inner voice. That inner voice talking to him. He got support. He just don't realize it.
Mm.
It's all right. He gonna
Dolly?
be in that storm. He gonna be in that storm for a while. That water gonna be raging. But when that storm calms and that boat starts sailing like it needs to sail, he gonna see it.
Mm. Mm. Dolly?
Yes, sir. So I wanna ask you this question real quick, hardworking man. So abandonment and abandoned in my eyes, abandoned is more along the lines of when you are left alone, especially when you are abandoned, left alone, or oftentimes it feels like betrayal from individuals who
Yes,
you felt,
trust it.
yeah, that you trusted, that you felt were there for you, that you felt, that you thought were loyal to you. And therefore then over time it creates those abandonment. It creates that abandonment,
Mm.
those abandonment issues.
That's
I feel like
that's
abandoned. I
it.
feel like abandoned is the present. Abandonment is the past. That's the trauma that comes from being abandoned.
Yes,
So I
that
feel
is
like
true.
those two go hand in hand, in my personal opinion.
That's that balance of scales. Like I'm telling you about that balance of scale. They right there
Hmm.
together.
Now with it, I know at the beginning when you did your slight introduction, you also mentioned abandonment. In counseling, how would you go about the abandonment? Because in all honesty, I'm not gonna lie, I have abandonment issues. I didn't realize this until probably like anywhere between 8 months to a year ago, due to something that had
Wow.
happened, and then also going through the shadow work journal, and also actually being in the same state as my father, who was not in my life at all growing up.
Mm.
And then talking with him, and my partner and her mom informed me of the way that I treated him, which I didn't realize that I treated him any type of way, but they were like, the sly remarks that you made really hurt. We could tell it hurt his feelings. And I was like, what did I say? And they tell me, and I was just like, well, damn. I was like, well, shit, that's the abandonment right there. Like, I didn't even pay attention to that. But even still with it, how could one deal with the type of abandonment trauma that they have once they realize that they have it?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, I'm asking
Sure.
you
Let
that
me ask you a
question.
question.
Oh, ask
Okay,
me.
so
Go ahead.
I
Go
went
ahead.
through it. Yeah,
Hmm.
I went through it with my mom. I went through it, got kicked out at 11 years old. I ran away because I felt like nobody wanted to be with me. Nobody wanted me. I ran away. But you know what? You heard that saying, so you got a praying grandma? I had a praying grandma and a granddaddy who took me in. Yes, they seen I got all the counseling I needed. They made sure. You know what I'm saying? Because during that time, I was tore up. I was young. I was tore up. Didn't want to go to school. Depressed, making myself sick. Felt like just killing myself. I went
Hmm.
through it. But after all the counseling I went through, believe me, I realized a whole lot of things. I was worth more than anything she was saying. And that's why I turned all my negativity into positivity and got skills that I got today because of how she treated me. And guess what? I
Mm.
still love her to this day. She asked me for something, I make sure she got it.
Hmm. That's love.
I made sure. I made sure. It made me better. It made me better. It made me a better man than I am right now. It made me better. I don't treat my granddad always tell me, don't treat people the way they treat you. You treat them better. They got to live for that. They got to answer that call. They got to answer all that.
Agreed.
That's just me, like the abandonment I went through. I went through that. Believe me, I went through it. Almost 10 years. Am I better? Way better.
How did you
Mm.
achieve that?
How did I achieve that?
Hmm.
I put God in front. I put God in front of it. I let Him lead me. I let Him lead me in counseling. I put God in front of it, and I listen. I got at home. I got 10 journals, and all of them fill up. I just started on my new journal. I write something every day, something positive every day. I have to.
That's a great way. That's a great way to deal with a lot of internal. Because I was the same way. I just found a journal from 2014 that I just started reading through this morning, and I'm laughing at the transition from 2014 to
To
2024.
now.
Uh, that's a that 10 years was a woo
Ooh,
man.
yes.
So I feel what you were saying earlier, Downley, when you were saying about being attacked mentally and emotionally by all of those they just old thoughts and ideas. So once you replace them with that new principle, new habits, terraform that mind. The
You
same
know
thing
what's
we talk about. Once you terraform it, ain't nothing else can do up there. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I was like, you know what I find interesting?
All
All of us, so hardworking man has mentioned a journal, 10 journals. That goes back some time. Impossible. You
Oh
right.
yeah.
mentioned journals from 10 years ago. I pulled out a journal
Mm-hmm.
from probably when I was in high school.
Oh
Mm.
So
man.
when it comes down to it, in our body, we know that we have an outlet. At some point
Mm-hmm.
in our lives, we move away from that. And it's
Mm.
the few of us that end up coming back to it. It's like when we're young, we know what we need to do, and then somehow we end up getting away from it, and then the select few of us end up coming back to it. I'm like, yo,
Wow.
how different would our lives be if we stayed continuous with it?
I still journal
That's true.
today.
Cause
I still journal. Yeah.
me
Yeah,
too.
I still
I have
journal.
to.
I still journal today. Yeah, it's a true outlet for me. It allows me to release not just me saying words. What is he? That's my guy.
Okay.
That's Zachariah.
But I okay. But I still journal, man. You got to, man. If you don't do it, you
Oh
got
yeah,
to.
yeah. And it brings me a level of peace and understanding. Hey, brings me a level of peace and understanding because again, I get to go back and read what I was actually feeling like. I have my daughter, my older daughter, right now. I got to going through it every hour on the hour. And when I say every hour on the hour, that means I call it it's a mental model. So every hour on the hour, she write down what she's feeling, what she's thinking, all of those things in that hour. Every hour on the hour. I say we're gonna do that for 2 weeks. I said by 2 weeks, you'll start to see a pattern and you'll start to see what's happening in your mind. So for anybody that's going through anything right now, just every hour set your alarm on your phone or your whatever watch you got, and then you just every hour on the hour write down what you're feeling, what you're going through, and do that for two to
I'm
three
I'm
weeks.
I'm I'm
You'll
gonna
begin
try
to
that.
see a
I'm
pattern.
gonna do that.
Oh,
I'm
do
gonna do
that.
that.
I promise you. I did it years ago, bro, and I swear I never I never knew I had a rage problem until I did that. I just thought I was mad. You know what I'm saying? So mad and rage are two different things. You know what I'm
It
saying?
is.
So I thought I was just a person that was just mad all the time. I come to find out, nah, there's a raging storm inside of your ass, and you always on damn 10. It's like, wow. So it was me seeing what was happening in my mind repetitively every hour on the hour, every day for 3 weeks. I did it for 3 weeks, and it blew my mind, bro. And then it gives you an ability to see where you can bring change at in your mind. So you can get to see the effects of what's happening in your life based upon what you have analyzed over the 3 weeks of what you're doing every hour per hour per hour. You can analyze it and you can say, okay, I'm gonna start implementing this, I'm gonna start implementing that, I'm gonna change this aspect of my life, and begin to make those changes in life. So I've been using that for years, man.
That's a good idea. I ain't never thought that. But yeah, I'm gonna do it now. Oh man,
Man, I
got to.
learned that
You about to have
from
a lot more than 10 journals, bro.
Hey, listen, man. And listen, that's no problem. You know why? Because you're never too old to learn something, change something about yourself, and become something better
That's
than what
it.
you already is.
Man, say that, just like that. And man, with
I'm
that being
telling you.
said, we're gonna move in. We're gonna move into some closing remarks. We're gonna start over at Dominic, Nick, and then I'll close them out. Let me get some closing remarks.
Oh snap! Put me on the spot. Hey, um,
Bah!
see, I wish I was on mine. I could be like pause. But nah.
Nah, I
True talk,
got
no lie.
you.
When it comes down to it, men, especially melanated men, you
Mhm.
are strong. You are strong. And with that strong, the strength comes with a balance. In order to really say that you are strong, you must first understand that at the same time, it's okay to feel vulnerable. That
Mm,
vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. That is a sign of you being human. That is a sign of you being able to adjust to your surroundings, because there's sometimes you have to understand that you do not know everything. You are not capable of doing everything. Sometimes you have to depend on other people, and when it comes down to counseling, you are depending on somebody else to help you through the things that you are going through that you may not even know that you have wrong with you. Things I don't, matter of fact, I don't even want to say that they're wrong with you, but that you are not aware are bothering you. Because when it comes down to
mm.
it, the things that you're holding inside of you will actually start to sicken you and turn into a disease. Why do you think that so many melanated individuals are passing away from heart attacks, high blood pressure, other different diseases that are within them that really should not be considered normal and our ethnicity. It's because that the lifestyles that we live, the way that we are taught that we need to keep everything in, the way that we are putting ourselves in very toxic situations and putting ourselves in places that seem cool on the outside and are fitting a stereotype to everybody on the outside looking in who do not have to deal with that, but want to emulate that lifestyle. We need a way to release that is not in a negative manner, but in more of a positive light. A way that can enlighten and influence individuals who are looking up to you as role models. So if you want to call yourself an OG, why don't you be an OG and teach them the youth the right way? We got too many YNs and BGs running around doing stupid things. They don't even know that they shouldn't be doing these stupid things on live streaming. So I mean, even if when it comes down to it, you want to call yourself a gangster, why don't you stand by what a gangster originally came up to do, which was protect the community, which means that you need to be up, stand 10 toes down and bring community back. Show them what community really is, rather than taking the individuals who could be a community in the future away from us early in our lives right now. Do not be afraid. When it comes down to it, stemming down to being afraid. Do not be afraid. Y'all harp yourselves so much on being cowards and being real niggas. Why are you so quick to jump up and get yourself killed or incarcerated to prove you're a real nigga without actually being a real nigga and showing individuals the right things to do? If you want to sit here and call yourself a real nigga, why don't you go ahead and show individuals what it's like to take care of a household, to actually raise children and be a father to the children, and also show them what it is for a man to love a woman. Don't be scared of that. Go ahead and get the help that you need. Go ahead and get looked at. Why don't you go ahead and write down in these journals and figure out what is really going on internally? If you have trust issues, you don't feel that you can talk to somebody because they might end up outing it out. I understand we got these HIPAA laws. I understand we got PHI and PII, and there are some individuals to where information can get leaked. But when it comes down to it, you know you can trust yourself, right? And if you can't trust yourself, you really need to go and figure out exactly what you can do to actually figure it out. So when it comes down to it, if you don't trust anybody else, trust yourself. And if you don't trust yourself, you need to find a way to learn to love yourself so you can build that trust in yourself, which that right there can come down to something that you can talk about or even write about in that journal. If you can't gather your thoughts, hey, Winnie the Pooh said it the best, so I often get to where I'm going by first leaving where I'm at. So the best thing you can do is go ahead and take one step forward, because now you're at least making movement. And that is all that I need to say.
Man, he done took everything I need to say already. But you left out one thing. You left out one thing. You left out one thing. That one thing you left out, a man got so much pride till he won't cry. He won't release his tears. That's the strong part about being a man. A man afraid to cry. Some men aren't afraid to cry, but some men are afraid to cry. If they got a good woman by their side, shouldn't be afraid to cry about it. Let it out. Release it. Don't let it sit in there. That's all a part of counseling. You got to cry. You got to let them tears out. You can't let it sit there. If a man afraid to cry, he got all that pride going to take him to his grave. He's not going to release it every time. Get the help. Get the help. Do things that going to make sure that you do it. Let me and Mr. Impossible talk about we're going fishing. You know what fishing is? Best meditation.
Throw that rod in there.
Throw that rod in there and bring them fish in. It's a good conversation. Talking about things you need to do. Give you time to reflect and think about stuff you want to do. Where you need to be at. How you gonna get there. What roads you got to cross. What walls you got to knock down. You got to figure all that out. And like you said, you got to trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself, you can't trust nobody. So get the help. Get counseling. We need it.
And Donley, I am the OG of crap. I'm an old god. I'm the old god of crap. I'm an old titan. You know what I'm saying? I come back to rule, goddamn it. We come here to reign. But and listen, to my indigenous melanated man, know who you are. Know that you are divine. Know that what walks in you is the power of God. It's the power of love that evolves, resides, and come back and regenerate. It is everything you would ever need. Love was something that, and a lot of fellas, love does not make you weak. Trust me. Love will get you killed. Love does not make you weak. Don't think love and being, as Donnie said it earlier, don't think being love and being vulnerable makes you weak. I'm vulnerable. It'll get you killed too. Don't test anyone like that, because you don't know what goes on in a man's mind. So that's why you go out in a place of love and peace and balance, and you don't usher in any type of ill energies. You know, I had a situation where ill energies happened last week where I almost knocked somebody's head off. So they told me they no longer needed my services because I damn near was gonna crack this motherfucking head open, and I understood that, but he understood too. You got to watch how you come in and you speak to a man. So I tell everybody who's going through it, be cautioned about that raging bull that dwells within. You know, be mindful. Do things that help you come to a peace of a place of love and peace. Because that warrior, that energy in us, it'll never go away. It'll never go away. You harness it. You bring it to a level of balance and a level of peace. So let it be one with you. Don't try to get rid of it. You know, be one with it. It's like Goku. You know, you gotta be one with that power. We're gonna start power up. I'm going Super Saiyan 4 on their ass. You know, I'm going Ultra Instinct on them. I ain't even thinking about it no more. I'm just going.
It might take you
on
6
their ass.
episodes.
That's all right, but I'm still going Ultra Instinct on it. Hey yo, again, man, I appreciate you guys giving up your time tonight, and we having a great conversation, man, on men afraid of counseling. I think we actually covered. Yeah, we are afraid of counseling. Yes, it's something that we do need to deal with. Yes, it is an actual aspect of us that when we begin to heal, it empowers and it enriches our communities, our neighborhoods, and our families. So, my fellas, my indigenous men, it's okay to heal. It's okay to go to counseling. If you don't want to get with the counselor you are, you can email me at impossible cd. What's this email? Impossiblevcd at gmail. Too many emails in my mind, man. So if anybody got a problem, just email me. We can do a one-on-one consulting, and we can get the ball rolling. So you don't have to be out here by yourself. That's Impossible, EMPOSSIBLEVCD at gmail.com. And we want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight, and we thank you for another episode of Talk That Crap. Peace, love, and love.
Observe and not to support, to discourage. Vision so passionate, it's disturbing. Creator rise, I was positive surging. Cosmic post see emerges. Reign of eternal, hands on my time. Impossible prince can God watch you step in the mind. Soul triggers, power holy divine righteousness. Combined with courage, love of essence. Don't let trauma bind and block your blessings. When you behind the veil, you hear the confession. Give you limitation, corruption, fear, deception. This the age of knowing, evolution, and resurrection.